Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. Welcome back to the PM and the AM podcast. This is your host, Porter McNeely, in video format alongside co-host Blake Bushman. Blake, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. I like doing these video more, and I can see your bright, shining little face there. Makes me feel real nice and nice on the inside.
No, yeah, we're definitely going to hope that the technology goes in our favor, which generally it doesn't. So that's why tonight is our night. We're really excited. We want to put these videos out there, have the clips out there. Just makes it a little bit more exciting for the morning people. And I think they deserve it, Blake. What about you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're the best,
Yeah.
for listening to us two bozos every week. I mean,
Yeah, for sure. We're so grateful for all the support we get. Thanks to everybody who's been listening and sharing the show. We really appreciate it. And thanks for everybody who's been dropping us a review. Today, we have some exciting content coming up. But before we get into that, we just want to go over the latest bracket that we had go final, which was the fruit snack bracket from 2 weeks ago. We didn't have a chance to talk about it on our last episode, but Blake ended up pulling off an impressive upset with the 4 seed. He chose Gushers, and they ended up pulling through for him.
yeah. I was surprised that Gushers did end up winning in the end. There was some controversy with it. I know some people didn't feel that they fell into the same category as some of the others. In the end, they are still fruit snacks. I mean, they're gelatin flavored, fruity things. It's just because, so there was a little bit of controversy there, but in the end, yeah, Gushers won. And I mean, I get it. I haven't had a Gushers in forever, but I'm happy. I'm happy with a win.
No, like you said, people thought of them more as candy. There was some outrage. There was some big time Scooby-Doo fruit snack fans that were sad to see it go down. And honestly, the biggest shock to me, though, was Mott's. Mott's was just kicking butt all the way through. It almost made it into the final round. It was like by
Yeah,
a few votes
it
that it didn't.
gave Welch's a run for its money there towards the end too. I mean, yeah, it was really surprising to see how many people like Mott's. I mean, they're good, but I didn't expect them to go as far as they did for sure.
And this week we have the best things about fall bracket. It's still going on. We've got a few more days in that one. Haven't really seen anything too surprising, but we are excited to see who wins that one, to see if Blake can go ahead and win back to back after I took the insurance mascots bracket that we did. But besides that, we had shared our guilty pleasures on the show last week. If you didn't catch that, make sure
Yeah,
to go and listen to
unfortunately,
that. Yeah,
you don't
make
need
sure
to
to go
you don't need
listen.
to go back and listen to it.
Blake doesn't want you to listen. But
It's all right.
yeah, if you were to want to check that out, it's in our last episode. We didn't really want to share too many of the fans that they sent in because we didn't know if they were like private, but we did get a lot of just like maybe watching a TV show that was girly or whatever, like a certain
You got a
treat that.
lot of support for Love is Blind.
Oh yeah,
There were
yeah,
a lot of Love is Blind fans out there. I was
yeah,
surprised.
it's
I'd never
something that
even heard
people
of it
don't want to
before.
admit, but I mean, it's a decent show. It's got a good hook to make you want to watch a little bit more.
Oh, well, I guess I'll give it a whirl after you and many of the morning people had a strong opinion that it's great. So
Yeah, I mean, great, maybe a little too high, but it's pretty good. It's a good way if you don't have anything else to watch and you're like, I don't know what kind of mood I'm in. Yeah, I would check it out. I would say that's a good guilty pleasure. Other than that, there's just like some treats. People are like, oh, like I eat sweets after 11 p.m. I'm like, oh, guilty pleasure. That's everyday life, baby.
that's that's how I live my life.
Yeah,
That's
a lot of
that's
things
just
that.
a pleasure. I don't feel guilty about it. All
Yeah,
right.
exactly. So, I mean, things like that to some people they are feeling guilty, I guess, but to me, I'm like, man, that's just how it is sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, embrace it.
But
Being fat is just showing that you're putting your good money to good use. That's what I say. You
exactly, you're
know.
spending on yourself.
Yeah.
But we do have a couple more questions we want to get into this week. And first, I want to ask you, Blake, what are some of the biggest scams?
Okay. There's a couple of them, and like right off the bat, I couldn't think of any that I was like, that's a scam. But then I started thinking more and more, and there's a couple of things that drive me crazy. So we'll build up in you know order of annoyance. But first one, this is really relevant to me right now. I'm in school, and college textbooks are the biggest scam it drives me crazy that we have to spend $300 on this stupid book that we use like maybe once throughout the semester, and then you try to return it, you're getting like $6 back from the exact same place that you bought it in the exact same condition. It Oh man, and half the time it's the professors who wrote it, and
Mhm.
they want you to buy their book to boost their numbers. Oh, I can't stand it.
That's an excellent point. I had one class that I'd been going for about 3 weeks. This is this semester, so about a month ago. And then I finally realized that it was a paper textbook, which most of my textbooks, I'd say 95% of them are online books. And so you don't really worry about it, and you just log in when you want to look at the stuff, and it's included in the tuition, so you don't have to worry about spending
Oh.
more. And I realized, oh crap, this is an actual paper textbook and I've got a test coming up. I haven't studied. I don't have the book. I was like, I need it. So I rush ordered it, I got it, but I spent $85 on it. And I was really, and I got like two editions previous to the one we're supposed to have. But I was like, I'm not spending $200 on this book that I know I'm not even going to study. So I'll spend 85 instead. I'll lightly study it and then hopefully return it for the $4 like you said that they'll give me.
Yeah,
You're so right. That's such a big scam.
you can here you can literally rent an ebook. So you there it's stupid, but you can rent an ebook and they still charge you like $80 for it. And it is insane to me. So now I've started to obtain my textbooks through other means,
Oh,
and
I have a
it's
feeling
worked
these
really
memes
well for
are
me.
semi-legal, but
I mean, I'm joining Captain Jack Sparrow on the high seas, and I'll let you interpret that
man, I did not know there
however
was a
you.
textbooks industry there, but I'm really
Oh, that
surprised.
you, I'll have to hook you up, dude. It's fantastic.
If you ever
Yeah,
need a
I
late night,
refuse to spend money on those stupid books.
if you're ever trying to do a pirate excursion, Blake is a really good pirate. Only of plundering and actual pirate things like that, of course. Uh,
Oh, yeah, no, that's what we're talking. We're not talking about anything else.
talking about Captain Jack Sparrow, like you said. But that's a really good
Yeah.
scam. I have another scam that's a financial scam as well, and it's kind of been going
Oh,
viral lately. And that is you go somewhere to a restaurant that's not necessarily a sit down place. They turn the iPad around after you've ordered, and it's the tip button. It's 20, 25, 30% tip. And all they did was hand you the food that the company they work for priced and
that
expect you to
is
pay more.
that is the biggest scam on my list that I have.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have three, and I was going to build up. That's number one. It drives me crazy. You can go to a self-serve frozen yogurt place, and they'll ask you for a tip. I'm like, dude, all you did was press a button on the register. Like, it is insane to me that we are allowing companies to get away with not paying their employees because they expect their customers to pay them for it. I hate it.
Yeah, and this is another crazy example of that. So me and my wife went to a concert last week, um, and there she went to get the merch, which is already like $50 for a T-shirt
Oh
because they
yeah,
can.
super expensive.
Guy goes, grabs the size of T-shirt she asked for, hands her T-shirt, flips the thing over, and he's like,
No.
"It's gonna ask you a couple questions. What are the questions?" It's asking for a 15, 20, 25% tip because the man turned around and grabbed a T-shirt. Like he is fleecing people. That's actually robbery. I'm shocked that that can
And
still exist.
they put the little like skip or no
Hmm.
tip or whatever like so small grayed out in the bottom. So like
Yeah.
if you're like, oh, I can't see it, and then they make you do it right in front of them.
Hmm.
I hate it. I've gotten
Yeah.
to the point now, and like you can ask my wife. I've gone on many a rants about this, but I've started. I just refuse to tip anymore. I used to feel bad and be like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, okay, I'll give it 10%, whatever. I it We all need to come together as a people and
True.
ban this.
Oh, for
Those
sure.
iPads are should be outlawed.
They're
That
stealing.
question, if you are not waiting on me, you do not deserve a tip. You don't get a tip. A tip is for going above and beyond and giving me extraordinary service or even just decent service. And
Yeah.
like if any restaurant, I'll tip at. I'm not one of those guys who, they didn't fill up my water immediately, I'm not going to give them a tip. I'm not like that. But you don't get a tip for doing your job. All right. That's not how that works.
Yeah, and I think that has made the service industry for waiters even worse because now they're like, "Oh, well, I'm guaranteed, 10, 15, 20% for doing nothing." So we also had an experience on this trip we went on where we had like the worst service at a weighted restaurant. Like I could have gone and gotten my own food. You see where the food is set. We got one pitcher of water just like slid to us at the beginning of the time we sat down and didn't get any refills the entire time. Just little things like that where there was just no service whatsoever. And so you just see the effects of, oh, I can get a 15% tip for handing you a t-shirt. And then all of a sudden, like, okay, now you come
Yeah.
to a restaurant. It doesn't even matter if I do service at all. Like I'm going to get this high amount of tip for no reason. And that's definitely a big scam. I think we've
Yeah.
gone on
And
enough of a rant, but
yeah, one last thing. We as a society don't need it. The US is the only place this is even a thing. Like, all it takes is to pay the employees
yeah.
a normal wage
Hmm.
and we're fine. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's enough about that before I absolutely lose it.
All
But
right. So
that
the
absolutely scam.
yeah, okay, but the next one I'm going to go into is more maybe just like a personal rant, but I think like most subscriptions that you can do with like when you can buy stuff on Amazon and they're like purchase this product as a subscription.
Oh
And so
yeah.
you get like a
Is
5% discount, but it comes every 6
does
months or whatever.
anybody ever do those?
I mean, I know a
The
few people
Amazon
that
one
do it.
specifically.
And I think it's a big scam because I don't think there's any way that the 5% discount or whatever is going to be enough for when those like packages just keep lining up and you have so much of it on
Yeah.
surplus. So I think that's a pretty good business model. I think it's also kind of a scam.
Like there's ones like I'm pretty sure my in-laws use it for like toilet paper. It's like
Uh-huh.
every 6 months they get like a big thing of toilet paper and it lasts them and they have it like timed out to where they get it like right when they need it basically. So like I understand that like it can be useful, but like there's certain times that I know that they just have like a backlog of toilet paper. Like during
Yeah.
COVID when everybody was like going crazy about it, I'm pretty sure that they had like a stockpile because they like kept getting it and
So
like
they kind
every
of
time it
hack the
was in
system.
stock it would automatically ship and they had it. So uh like I know it can be useful, but yeah, it's like not the Amazon ones specifically, but like some of the other ones that like you just have that like, oh, sign up for like a 1 week free trial and it's something you need right then and then you forget and then even if you cancel it after the first one, you just lost, 50, 20, $10, whatever it was, just because it's the I call it the Fortnite system. People make everything free and then
Oh
you
yeah,
have to
yeah.
like pay to get like
Add-ons.
additional like features and add-ons on top of it because like video games and everything now there's so many free things now that in order to like have a better version or get the thing that you want you have to pay for it but they suck you in with the free tag.
True. That's true. That's a
Yeah.
good part of what the scam is essentially.
Yeah, so they'll get you. I mean, you are well aware that
Yeah. Been got.
I have been a victim of forgetting to cancel subscriptions and spending more money than I cared to because yeah, it's no joke. A lot of these I mean, I guess and it makes sense that all scams are somehow money related because why would you scam somebody if it wasn't for money?
Yeah.
But have you so you said that you and your wife went to a concert recently,
Mhm.
right? Did you buy the tickets online?
Yes, I think we did. I didn't purchase them personally. We went with some other people, and they were the ones that got the
Okay.
tickets for us. I'm assuming we paid like $1,000 in fees.
Because that's my next thing.
Uh,
The buying things online, there's always like at the very bottom, there's a convenience fee or like a service fee. They have different names for it in most places. Most
mhm.
places call it a convenience fee. And it is so dumb
Yeah, I
because
mean, I'd print those suckers out if I didn't have to pay for the convenience. I'd pay it in the ink of the printer.
I mean, here's the thing, like I should have to pay a convenience fee if I do it like in person, because
Mm.
then I'm like paying the wage of the person that helped me.
Yeah,
If I'm doing it online, I guess the convenience of not having to go in person, but why do I have to pay? It's not convenient if I have to get an extra fee on top of it. It's so
true.
dumb. They're just sucking money out
They
of you.
gotta rename those fees to just be like annoying fees because everybody knows what they are and everybody knows they suck. And so
We
if they
want your
just put it
money
as it is,
fee.
they're like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna place this fee because we can. And
Yeah.
I think it would be more straightforward and more honest.
Yeah, every time Ticketmaster is the one that drives me crazy, because you'll see, like I like going to jazz games, and so I'll go and I'll buy tickets, and like, oh hey, look, like $30 for tickets or whatever, something super cheap right before the game. And then by the time you get through, two tickets should be 60. You end up spending $100 because of all these fees and add-ons that they give you. That, oh, it drives me crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
List the price, add the tax, and that's what I want to be out the door.
That's crazy. So there's our question of the week. We want to hear from you guys. We want to know what other scams we should be avoiding. We're just going to stick with that question. And then after the break, we are going to debate and make a bracket of the places where you're most likely to get food poisoning. So these are restaurants or like little local places. Um, and we're going to talk about that. So stay tuned for your own safety. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to prepare you guys for the worst. After this brief ad from Anchor, we will be right back. And we are back with the places you are most likely to get food poisoning bracket. This is a really exciting one. Me and Blake are both,
I'm pumped for this one.
yeah, definitely both big food connoisseurs. So we've been around the block. We've been to many of these places. And I personally have been fooled a time or two. What about you, Blake?
I pride myself in having a stomach of steel. I do pretty well. There are a couple of things though that'll mess me up pretty good. So I- I'm interested to see where this goes, just because I think everybody has a little bit of a different experience with a lot of these places. Like there's some places that I know are known to mess people up that haven't messed me up, and maybe some vice versa. So I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I have the first overall pick in this week's bracket. And number one overall is not necessarily going to be a specific restaurant or restaurant chain, but there's one of these in every local town, and they all kind of do the same damage, I would say. And so with number one overall, I am taking Chinese buffets.
Yeah, no, I mean, buffets are a dangerous game to be playing, especially when you're getting mystery meat in there.
Ooh,
You don't know
yeah.
what they're putting on those trays. You don't know how long it's been sitting there. You don't know what animal it came from. Nothing.
Ooh.
It's scary for sure.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that that food is not just recycled. I have a hard time believing that food is edible. And I've been to one Chinese buffet one time and 100% got food poisoning. And so that's pretty
Oh
dangerous. If
wow,
you
there
only
you
go
go.
one time and get it, think about the danger that that could be
Yeah,
causing everybody
I mean,
else.
a 100% failure rate is not good.
No,
So
that is
I,
not what
I
you're looking for as a
I can't
restaurant.
blame you there. Uh, a Chinese buffet is for sure one that you want to stay away from. So excellent first choice. That's not where I thought you were going to go, and so now I'm like, you have to kind of choose. You play the game on what you think like is going to make it back to you. But I'm going to pick one here that it had a scandal a couple of years ago for an
Ooh.
outbreak of, I think it was E. coli or
Ooh.
something, like horse meat. I don't know what it was. Like something was wrong, and a ton of people were getting sick, like thousands of people. And so maybe one of our listeners was one of these people that
Oh
got sick.
yeah.
But that's Chipotle.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, wow. That's a good pick. That's a really good
Because
pick.
when you're combining a burrito filled with beans and all sorts of sauces and things that can wreak havoc on your bowels, and then you add in this other side effect that they had bad meat for a while, I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. That
Yeah.
it's a well-known tragic happening when you after you go there. So
Yeah, that's a really good pick. I'm jealous that you got it. I didn't know if it was gonna be on your bracket or where it was going to come
Oh,
in the rankings.
I
And
couldn't let it get back to you. No way.
yeah, you definitely stole that one with a national scandal, like you say. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Definitely up there and definitely dangerous. So be careful eating at Chipotle, and hopefully, I think they've cleaned it up,
Oh,
but
for sure. Yeah.
there's still a
Still
high risk
dangerous
of
though. Let's be clear.
bowel issues after you go there. That leaves me with number three, and I've been debating in my mind if I want to go back to the buffet, and I do because buffets are disgusting. And I'm taking Sizzler at number three because Sizzler is probably the most disgusting buffet.
I it How Sizzler is allowed to be an operating business, I will never know.
Yeah.
Like over under a week and a half that they leave the food out before
Mm.
people before they can't serve it anymore because it starts growing things.
I would probably take the over on most food there. There's probably some stuff that turns green and they're like, gosh, we got to scrap this and buy new stuff. But yeah,
I
it's
really wonder if they have a special seasoning that they put on all of their food. Maybe seasoning isn't the right word. Coating.
preservative.
And yeah, that's really what just makes it so the food doesn't stink when it goes bad, and so they
Well,
can
they
just
have
leave it
like
out.
the heat lamps, they've got those lights just like beaming down on it
Dude,
while everybody's kind of mixing. Because when you go to get a spoonful of something, some slops into whatever's next to it,
yeah,
buffets are
yeah,
so nasty, man.
it's a gross place. I mean, I don't even know if they care about the sniff test, which is bad. You got to be doing your own sniff test when you go to Sizzler. So
Honestly,
yeah, I'm sad I didn't get either of the buffets, like a Chinese buffet or Sizzler. Sizzler was absolutely in consideration because it's gross. It's up there with a couple other buffets that yeah, it's not a should not be a family friendly place.
kids love
I,
it. Parents get destroyed.
yeah, I have no idea what goes on inside of a kid's body that makes them able to eat whatever happens in a Sizzler, but
School lunch.
that's school lunch is preparation for Sizzler. Is that
Yeah, that's what you got to do. You got to participate
that's
in all those germs if you want to have Sizzler and be
yeah.
safe.
I mean, there's a couple of things that are known for being bad. Sizzler's one of them, and my next pick is one of the things that I think is has the biggest stereotype for making
Ooh.
people sick. It's one of my favorite places. We've talked about it many times on the podcast, and that's Taco Bell.
Oh, Taco
I
Bell.
I love Taco Bell, don't get me wrong. And I haven't personally had too many issues. I mean, an upset stomach here or there, who hasn't, but
Mhm.
really getting messed up, I haven't. But I know that I think if you polled 100 people, most people would probably say that they have gotten wiped off the planet by Taco Bell.
Yeah, definitely a destructive, explosive. We've talked about the Diablo sauce as being one of the most
Oh,
uncomfortable things that you can eat. Instantly turns my stomach upside down and is a
it's
mistake that
worse
I'm not going
coming
to
out
make
too.
again. Oh, yeah.
It's the Diablo sauce coming in, but it's the ultra Diablo
Ooh,
sauce coming back out. So
yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah.
that's bad.
That's straight misery. Definitely. Definitely agree. That's a great pick at number four. Your team's looking pretty impressive so far.
Getting that at
Um,
4 is thrilling. I'm
yeah,
happy.
that's
So
kind of a steal right there, honestly. Then moving into number five. Ooh, this leaves me with a tough decision. But thinking off of personal experience, those personal food poisoning experiences that you have are going to stay with you a little bit stronger, and
oh, for sure.
you're going to remember it. So I'm going to take one that I have had personally that is very uncomfortable, and that is Buffalo Wild Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings. I mean, you get some of them spicy sauces.
Ooh.
That's a risky game to be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to risk it with that because you don't know. You
Yeah.
never know what kind of chicken they're using.
True, and how long they're cooking it. Because I remember, so this experience came when we were actually roommates, and so
Oh, really?
yeah. So the rest of our roommates and us, we decided it was the beginning of the NBA season or something, and we decided we were going to go. Maybe it's the NFL
That's
playoffs or
right. I
something.
remember
Mhm.
this. I remember this.
So we decided we're going to go to Buffalo Wild Wings to celebrate. There was a massive line, a ton of people. And so I think the chefs were dipping them in the fryer for about like 5 minutes and then just like, oh yeah, just send it out. Just send it. They had to make wings for so many people that night. They were like, well, whatever. And I unfortunately got one of those batches that was maybe just served raw with sauce. And that led to one of the worst nights, most uncomfortable nights of my entire life. There was a point where I was falling asleep on the toilet because I my stomach hurt so bad, but I was so tired.
You literally just sat on the toilet all night and just whatever happened.
It was like multiple hours. Yeah, it was a terrible night. And needless
Okay,
to say, I have gone back since and I have enjoyed the food. So just don't
I
do it.
remember going to Buffalo Wild Wings with you that day, and there was
Mhm.
like 6 of us
Uh-huh.
with it that day. I don't remember. Did we? I felt like we had multiple people that got sick, right?
Two
Like
or
there.
three. I can't remember out of the group. So it must have
I
been a
don't.
certain batch.
I don't feel like I did,
Hmm.
but maybe the flavor that I got was one that they let sit in for 15 seconds instead of 5. They
Yeah, if it
popped
wasn't
they popped
as in
mine in the
demand.
microwave after
Oh yeah.
to really get them nice and good. But I mean, personal experience is absolutely something that holds on to you, that you remember. And that's where I'm going with my next pick as well. I feel like this is pretty common in people, but at the same time I don't really know, but Arby's is something
Ooh.
that their roast beef sandwich has really done me dirty in the past. Like it goes down 10 out of 10, sits in my
Oof.
stomach, and the the weight that it leaves there, just rumbling, and I'm in danger immediately, and I know it, but it tastes so good I keep going back.
No, I think that's a good way to describe Arby's in 2 words, tummy rumbler. Because there's gonna be some discomfort. There's gonna be some stuff going on that's pretty
Yeah,
crazy. So
I love
underrated
Arby's
pick.
too.
Yeah.
Like I think Arby's is underrated in and of itself, but I think it's also underrated as a destroyer of stomachs. So it can go both ways. And yeah, I needed to pick it just out of respect for what it's done to my own body.
Out of respect for that's kind of a crazy way of putting it. So all right, so there we have Arby's going in at number 6. So that leaves me with my last pick on this bracket. And I still have like 3 or 4 more that I wanted to choose from.
Yeah, we'll have to go through our honorable mentions after to.
But this is tough. This is a tough one. I think, yeah, I figured it out. I'm taking KFC at number 7. KFC could
Oh,
be extremely dangerous because, again, we're going back to chicken. We've already talked about what chicken could do to you if it's not cooked properly. And KFC seems like a place where they're not going to cook it properly.
the biggest problem with KFC. I don't go there all that often, but I think it tastes great. Again, most of these taste really good, and
Hmm.
that's why they're so dangerous, because they lure you in with that false
They
sense of hope.
entice you.
The problem with KFC is one word: bucket. Why do why are they allowed to sell food in a bucket? It's wrong. Food is not meant to come that way. Put it on a tray, like a why we don't need 50 wings on a bucket. There's something about that that seems so much more dangerous than the exact same amount of wings any other way.
I no, I agree. I think that's a really good point that I've never thought of before. Why do they have to put it in a bucket? And it's so much quantity in a bucket. It just kind of seems a little gross. Seems a little reminiscent of a fair or a carnival or something. And
Ooh,
those places could definitely lead to some
that's
serious issues.
they would be up there on the list if
Yeah.
if they were allowed in these, because I guess it's not technically a restaurant, so it's kind of hard to narrow down. But like a state fair, woohoo,
Ooh,
that's
yeah.
that'll
There's
get you
some
real good.
sketchy cooking techniques going on there, which also KFC has because they're serving in the bucket, just throw
Mm,
everything in a bucket formula, which is not the best presentation.
yeah, yeah. Anything out of a bucket should not be eaten. That's a rule I choose to live by, and I'm sticking to it.
I like that rule. I think that's a
Yeah.
really good thing.
There's another rule that I live by, and that is that. Well, let me preface this before I get into my next pick, because I've never been to this place. I don't know if you've been to this place. I don't even think we really have one around here. There might be one somewhere. I've never considered it because of how foul it seems,
Oh no, I'm nervous.
and that is a Long John Silver's.
See, I've
Let
heard the name, but I don't even know what it
let me
is.
let me paint a picture for you, because I don't know how many of our listeners have really like I said, I don't know if we have one around here. So maybe if wherever you're listening has one, the horrors. But
Oh no.
this is a fast food restaurant. Okay, that's fine in and of itself. Can be scary, but it's a seafood fast food restaurant. And
Oh.
seafood and fast food together are quite possibly
Oh.
two of the worst combination. Like that those two things together should be just absolutely outlawed. It's against the Geneva Convention.
Yeah.
They need to separate half of the entire restaurant to put toilets and barf bags, because there's no way that they're able to keep fish fresh in a fast food restaurant.
I hope they have a flagpole outside and they're just flying a giant red flag for all those people that are thinking about going there, because they need to be aware of what could potentially happen. I was trying to think actually while we were doing this bracket, I was like, oh, okay, the foods that could get you the most sick. Oh, seafood. But I couldn't even think of a fast food chain. I didn't
Yeah.
think one existed. And so that's really alarming. That is
Yeah.
scary.
There's not a huge market for it, believe it or not. So there's really only the one that I know of. And like because I thought the same thing, and I was like, okay, what can I do that's seafood? And I thought of like, oh, gas station sushi. Like that's dangerous too. But that's not a restaurant. And then I came across the realization that Long John Silver's exists when it should not, because of how terrible it has to be to the human body. Like people talk all the time about what Twinkies are made out of. I don't care. I would rather eat a million Twinkies than a fish fillet from a fast food. Like
Oh.
I can't do it. No way.
If you want a free stomach pump, if you need that, you could just go
That's
get Long John
that's
Silver's.
what they have at their that's what they have at their combo. You get fish sticks, fries, a drink, and a stomach pump on the side. Like you go through the drive-through at the very end, they're just pumping people out because
No, what an intense combo.
it's coming out one way or the other, and it's not going to be pleasant. So yeah, I haven't ever been there. I don't know, but I also know that it has to be just a war crime. So
No, that sounds devastating. You actually assembled a really elite team. I think I did as well. It'll be interesting to
oh
see how
yeah,
you do in the polls this week. As always, we'll be posting this to our Instagram at PM in the AM podcast. Make sure you're following us there so you can vote along with your favorites, or I don't know if it'd be favorites this week or places that have gotten you the most sick.
least
Oh,
favorite
yeah,
maybe.
least favorites
Yeah.
all week. We'll have that posted there as well as some additional content. So make sure you're following us. Thanks to everybody who's been leaving us reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We appreciate those, and they help us to grow and reach a new audience. And we ask that you guys would take a minute just to share this show with a friend. You got anything else for the listeners, Blake?
No, we appreciate you guys listening every week. It really means a lot to us. The support, the feedback. If you have any questions that you want us to answer on here, we're obviously experts,
For sure.
and so let us know. We will take it into our well-trained minds and teach the people about it. But yeah, I think that's all I got to say.
Awesome. Thanks so much for listening, and we will catch you guys next week.
Peace out.
Congrats on making it all the way to the end. We hope you enjoyed the show. You are now officially part of the PM and the AM fan base, the morning people, and we are super pumped to have you here. Now that you're a part of the crew, please share the episode with a friend, and make sure to check out the rest of our shows and social media content for more hilarious brackets, crazy questions, and an overall great time. Thanks for listening. It truly means a lot to us, and we'll catch you guys next week.